looking at the if you're looking at the screen and being like, man, this is not widescreen, this is tall and narrow. I just did that just for the heck of it, just to see, what the live stream looks like. This is a live stream, just getting a little bit of exercise, trying to burn off my gut. It's one thing about the pandemic, man. I don't want to get cooped up in a gym with people, in that small of a space. But I am getting some exercise, and I want to talk about Apple Silicon. So Apple Silicon is a huge, and let me rephrase that. Let me step back. Apple Silicon is an unexpectedly huge leap forward. My original assumption is that what we were going to see is kind of a diluted computer experience. I was afraid that, we're going to see something, a less powerful laptop, a less powerful Mac Mini, but something that is, more energy efficient. What Apple has delivered, and this is what Apple's delivered with the version 1.0 of Apple, of the Apple M1, which is the Apple Silicon. What they've actually delivered is a product that not only is fast, but it actually performs it outperforms the fastest Intel systems. I've got an i9, MacBook Pro i9, and it runs circles around it. So to be able to get that kind of performance from a from such an affordable system, which traditionally has been entry level. We've looked at the Mac Mini as kind of a poor man's gateway into the Mac universe. It's a bring your own monitor, bring your own keyboard and mouse kind of deal. We've never looked at Mac Mini as being a competitor of an iMac or a competitor of one of Apple's MacBooks. But what they've delivered is something that just runs circles around even the spec'd out 16-inch MacBook Pro like I have. It's crazy. So, what we're seeing here is a shift from, well, it goes without saying, we're seeing Apple, letting Intel go gently. Apple didn't, normally Apple really pumps up their new product releases, and they really go overboard with the presentation and the unveiling of the new product. The unveiling of the M1 Apple Silicon was kind of just a very casual, oh, by the way, we've got a new chip, check it out. But in reality, what Apple did is they released a new chip that destroys the performance of Intel. And I'm going to be posting a ton of videos, not just benchmarks, but actual videos where I've got my i9 MacBook Pro 16-inch and my Mac Mini M1, side by side, performing normal tasks like video editing, video export. So you can see hands-on, virtual hands-on, how well it performs. And it has been a beast already. And I got it on day 0, and the Mac Mini, and I've got the MacBook Air coming. And what you may not know is that the current new Macs that have been released, the Mac Mini, the MacBook Air, and the MacBook Pro 13-inch, they all use the M1, same chip. So I'm going with the MacBook Air simply because it's smaller, it's lighter, I can get it in different colors, and it doesn't have a fan. So getting a MacBook Air that is going to smoke my MacBook Pro Core i9 is just, that was totally unexpected. So, Apple is, they're trying to be good business people. They're trying to, not point fingers at Intel and say your product is junk now. But, in essence, what they've done is release something that obsoletes even the highest end Intel Macs on the market today. So, welcome to Apple Silicon. Welcome to Apple M1. So it's going to change the computing landscape. There will be some small growing pains, and I'll go ahead and talk about some of those. I've talked about it in some of the videos I posted, but some of the small growing pains will be, anytime you're in a transitional state, going from one OS, from an OS that, was powered by Intel to now an OS that'll be powered by Apple Silicon. Hi there, welcome aboard. You're going to have growing pains. So there are some apps, not the Apple apps, but some apps such as, online backups. Adam says, I have the MacBook Pro on the way. Very cool. Dude, you got to do a review of that, because now the MacBook Pro 13-inch with M1, it has a cooling fan. So the belief is that it may be able to perform a little bit faster than the MacBook Air, because it does have that cooling fan. Also, with the MacBook Pro 13-inch M1, you're getting better battery life, at least on paper. I haven't had it or the MacBook Air in my hands yet. I've only got the Mac Mini M1, but it's supposed to have better battery life than the MacBook Air M1. So, there's a lot of cool stuff, but there's a lot of things you should take into consideration. For example, the programs like, Adobe. You got Lightroom, you got Photoshop. A lot of those have not been adapted to Apple Silicon yet. So if they do run, and there's currently problems with it, but if they do, they're using a tool called Rosetta 2, which basically emulates the Intel and enables it to run on the Apple Silicon. So definitely not a full speed performance by any means, but, at least something that, during that transitional state, if you're an early adopter of Apple Silicon like I am, you can at least run a lot of apps thanks to Rosetta. One of the apps that I use Rosetta 2 for on mine is Backblaze. It's a cloud backup, because I back up all my good videos. If my computer room burns down, I've got off-site backup of everything. So, that runs. I use Adobe CC for Lightroom, and I don't have, allegedly, Adobe's going to put Lightroom CC out native for Apple Silicon. It's going to be one of their first apps for Apple Silicon. So we'll see what happens there. I've just been, and again, my business is YouTube. This channel, Higher Skies Adventure channel. And I do a lot of professional work as well. So I pretty much live in Final Cut Pro 10 and Compressor. Both Final Cut Pro 10 and Compressor are already updated for Apple Silicon, so they run great. No performance issues there. They're super snappy. What I've found already, and this is just a few days of editing within Final Cut Pro 10 on my Mac Mini M1, is that even editing in the timeline, even with the MacBook Pro 16 Core i9 with 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD, that timeline on the Mac Mini when I'm in Final Cut Pro 10 with the Apple Silicon, so smooth. Editing, looking at the effects in real time. I don't have to use an eGPU. The graphics in the M1, just the processing power of that, like when I apply edits, say for example, I go in and adjust the saturation level for the entire video clip. That goes through and renders those saturation changes very snappily. So, this, we're talking about Mac Mini, which is an entry-level Mac. And it's not entry-level. It smokes my MacBook Pro Core i9, which I did not expect that one bit. So, it's one of those deals where, the landscape, the Apple ecosystem is rapidly changing. If you're not an Apple fanboy, that's a shame, because they do make great products. And I understand they're expensive, but now you're looking at Apple's entry-level offerings that are smoking the top tier Apple Intel offerings. So I really feel sorry for the people that invested in the Mac Pro. Adam says, my Sony a7 III will skip all over the place. Older MacBook Pro had to do proxies on every clip. One thing I've noticed, and I don't know if this is just Big Sur or if it's, well, no, it must be Big Sur because it happens on my Intel Mac. And yeah, I wear a mask sometimes, man. When I'm around people, I do, but yeah, so yeah, since I upgraded to Big Sur, I've noticed that if I run the A7R4, if I plug it into Final Cut Pro 10 to import video, it doesn't recognize the camera. I'm assuming that's because of the Big Sur update or the Final Cut Pro 10 update, because it happens with my old Intel MacBook Pro i9 and my new Mac Mini M1. But I mean, all I got to do is go to the desktop and click the SD card when the camera's plugged in, and then drag the files into Final Cut, no problem. You're wearing a mask. That's important. I mean, but see, now here's the flip side of the mask wearing, and I understand. It's probably best practice to do it because you don't want to potentially get others sick or get yourself sick. But the flip side of it, of the mask wearing, is that we're being forced to conform by government, and not to go down that rabbit hole, but if we let too many of our personal choices go out the door before we know it, we're not going to have any rights, any personal rights, and that's a scary thought. But I agree. I wear a mask when I'm around people. I'm around no one now. I'm just out in the field, man, just walking around trying to burn this gut off. I'm just trying to make myself less fat, But it's just one way to do it. Just get out and walk. You don't have to be around people. Move out in the middle of nowhere, man. Start your own society. Do your own thing. Take you a Mac with Apple Silicon and start a multi-million-dollar business. I mean, do it. There's nothing stopping anyone. Just because we're in this challenging business climate right now because of the pandemic doesn't mean that we can't have ideas and buy tools and make big financial gains. I mean, there's opportunities out there for every entrepreneur. You just gotta seize the moment, man, and you gotta say, okay, what's different, what's changed, how can I take advantage of this never before seen business climate and turn it into something highly profitable? What can I do? That's what you should ask yourself, because there's tons of opportunities, tons of professional opportunities. I wake up thinking about how to make money, and I go to sleep thinking about how to make money. And, it's not all about making money, but, my quest has always been and will always remain, the quest for freedom. Going out and getting, positioning yourself to not have any sort of burdens. And one of the biggest burdens we can have in life is a financial burden, because if you got that, you can't go places, you can't do things. It really it can create less than optimal day-to-day life. So that's always has been my mission, and always will be. To to find ways to get out of that. And just create the next enormous thing. And I mean, it just takes trial and error sometimes, man. That's what you got to do. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm just a dude that films YouTube videos and has a vision. And that's all it is. And if I want to walk through a field with trash in it and film a video and ramble on, it's that's freedom of choice. You can choose to do what you want to do, and that that segues back to why it's so important as a society to embrace our freedoms, because if we don't, those freedoms will be stripped away. And the scary part is that a lot of people, they look at the next step. If they're at step one, they look at step two, and they never really contemplate what's coming next or what could be coming next. One should always look at the current and then say, okay, this is probably what's going to happen next, or this is what will happen next, and try to decipher what the best next step would be. The scary part is now, just because of, and not to get into conspiracy theory or anything like that, the scary part is now, this world as a whole, not just the United States, but the world as a whole has entered a very unknown, uncharted, and uncertain territory. Now we are in a position to where, one can look at it in several different ways. One can look at it as, okay, what happened? The pandemic was a legitimate, thing that just appeared from a sewer pipe or something. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it, and this would be more of a conspiracy theorist, always trying to grow my channel, make some extra dollars. No joke, Adam. That's what to do, man. What's better? And that's interesting you said that, because, I picked up, the Xbox. I did that. I wanted to film some tutorial videos, and I knew that the unboxing video would be hot. But, I never started playing games on it, because it's one of those things, time is money. So if you're doing, and there are professional gamers that make a ton of money, playing a video game. But for the most part, playing a video game is a time sink. If you're not properly monetizing that activity, you're wasting time that could be invested in other things, like YouTube. And I realize there's people, there are professional gamers that stream on YouTube, but that's just not me. I'm here to do live shows like this. I'm here to do tutorial videos, how-to videos, drone videos, travel videos. That's been the biggest hit for me because of this pandemic, has been the inability to travel. It's, David, where are you headed, to Canada? Honestly, man, probably, if things get really rough, probably Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a good, it seems to be a pretty stable area. Things can change, but, probably, if there really is an SHTF scenario, probably Costa Rica would be a good option. It's good evening from Montreal. Welcome, David. Welcome aboard. Man, these new Macs, this Apple Silicon, I mean, it has surprised me in ways that I didn't feel that I could be surprised. I mean, it's not an entry-level performer. It's the entry-level offerings. The M1 is the entry-level offering from Apple. But just because it's entry-level and it's on its entry-level Macs doesn't mean that it doesn't grossly trump all of the existing Intel-based Macs. So Canada's the best country in the world. I've been to Canada. I've been to British Columbia, and I loved it there. One of the things I really loved about Canada was the poutine, which is fries and gravy. I'd never had poutine until I went to Canada. Had fries and gravy, and then I had a beaver tail. That was good. Really cool country. You got a lot of vast outdoor areas to explore, so you can get away from all the negativity and craziness. That's my goal, is just to get to the level, with this Irish Guys Adventure channel, to get to the level to where I can just pretty much bug out and just get out of this what seems to be a collapsing world. Honestly, not to be negative, but sometimes saying how it is honesty, and honesty doesn't always have to be sugar-coated. So that being said, I mean, I'm not a fear monger. I'm not going out and trying to instill fear in the minds of anybody. But I do like to keep things honest, and, you know, being an older dude and, you know, having seen the world in the past and the downward spiral that we've experienced today throughout the past few years has, well, not just past few years, but past many years, you know, it's easy to predict, you know, how things will get really bad. David says poutine invented in Montreal. Very cool. Is that so? Is poutine would it be French cuisine? Is that what you would call it? Or I know Montreal's got a very large French-speaking population. Many kinds of poutine. The kind I had, and it probably, honestly, you'll probably laugh. I was in British Columbia, and I had it there, and it was, you know, I wouldn't say it was definitely not the gourmet poutine. If they do have a gourmet version, it was just, you know, basically like fries, like you might get out of a bag and fry up, and then some gravy over it. But I think it was just a combination of French fries and gravy, you know, just because I'd never experienced that. Obviously, I've had gravy. I do gravy and mashed potatoes all the time, but, you know, I'd never had French fries and gravy. So it was just I don't know if it was because it was such a totally new concept, or if it was the fact that it was exceptionally good. And I don't know. I mean, fries and gravy, man. Poutine. Good stuff. Good. But I tell you, I'm streaming live from the iPhone 12 Pro. Fries, gravy, curd cheese. That's what it is, man. That curd cheese. This iPhone 12 Pro has not dropped a single time. I will say the 5G connection that iPhone 12 Pro brings to the table is rock solid, man. Some have meat sauce. Ooh, man, that sounds like a meal, dude. Get some fries, get some gravy, get some cheese curds, some meat sauce. Man, that's the kit and caboodle right there, man. That is a whole kit and caboodle. So, yeah, that'll be. I've got to try. Okay, that's what I got to do when this pandemic ends. I'm going to get on a jet plane, and I'm going to go to Montreal, and I'm just going to go place to place, and you know, do like travel reviews and find out who in Montreal serves the best poutine. You know, just go up there for a few days. David, I'm all over the place, man. Normally in the southeast in Georgia, a lot of the times, not currently because of the pandemic, but a lot of the times I'm in the USVI, the United States Virgin Islands, but most of the time Georgia. It's in the southeastern United States, so, you know, pretty cool place. I mean, you know, they got peaches and they got, you know, good barbecue and all that kind of stuff. Some poutine has chicken. So I've got to do poutine with beef. I've got to do poutine with chicken. I've just got to go. I got to go on this. That'll be a good series. And it'll be Irish guy flies to Montreal to eat poutine, fries and gravy. So, well, fries and gravy and chicken and beef and who knows what else, man. That is fascinating, man. Learn something new every day from this channel. I always thought poutine was just fries, gravy, and curds, cheese curds, but the small little fry places probably have the best. No doubt, man. You can't beat the small town restaurants, you know. Speaking of that, if you ever go to Philadelphia, Philly, get you a Philly cheesesteak. 2 places right around the corner. I mean, like, I went up there and ate. It was, I bet Georgia getting pounded with political ads right now. Thank God it's over here. Politics, man. And it's not going to get anywhere. That's the problem. Le Fleurs and La Belle Province have good ones. I'll add those two to my upcoming travel log, man. Because this is a poutine adventure. And you know, that's important, man. Good food. Like I said, Philly, though, you go to Pat's and Geno's, and those are in Philly. They're just cheesesteaks. Went to one, ate a cheesesteak, walked a few hundred feet to the other one, ate another Philly cheesesteak. hadn't eaten all day. I had just been, on a jet plane drinking whiskey. So I was pretty hungry, and just ate that, man. It was good. You have to catch a hockey game in Montreal. No doubt, man. That sounds like, I think hockey's the big, well, I mean, I would say definitely, and you can confirm this, I'd say it's definitely the biggest sport in Canada. Yeah, Canada's always fascinated me. Again, I've only been to British Columbia, so, going to Montreal to find the best poutine is going to be a big mission. But I'm not going to do it until after this COVID stuff ends, because not fun wearing a mask and having to go through all that gibberish and stuff. USA has the best ribs and chicken. Love your diet. Oh man, yeah, barbecue ribs, especially in the Southeast, are the best. I smoke ribs all the time. Speaking of that, stay tuned. I'm actually going to pick up and check out my old videos, my Brinkman electric smoker. Did a lot of ribs in those, but I'm picking up a new electric smoker. I'm not sure which brand or model I'm going to get yet, but I'm planning to get it within the next few weeks. And David says we're only an hour from the American border. Very cool. But yeah, I want to start doing some serious rib smoking, and not just ribs, but chicken and chicken wings and chicken thighs. Smoking all that stuff in the electric smoker. So that's going to be a big mission. One of those things that can be easily done while this pandemic's still going on. Man, Apple Silicon, I tell you, Apple Silicon has surprised the heck out of me. And you should look at Traeger. I love mine. Yeah, Traeger, man, they've got a good The only thing that's turned me off from that brand, and again, nothing against it, but when I look at the price tag, it's like, whoa. Like I said, I'm usually in Georgia, in the southeastern part of the United States, but I'm in the U.S. Virgin Islands a lot, the USVI, but because of the pandemic, I've been in Georgia a lot more than I have the USVI, so I'm kind of disappointed. But yeah, Traeger looks cool. It's just I can't get past the price of it, and whatever I pick up, this electric smoker, my goal, especially with Black Friday coming up, is to get something around the $200 US mark. And there's quite a bit of them out there. I'm just looking for something I can put non-proprietary wood chips in. Just get a cheap bag of apple wood or hickory or whatever, or chop my own and put in a little smoker box. That's my goal. And I found a few of them, and I don't want to say which ones I'm considering yet until I pick one up. David has driven Florida from Montreal. Whoa, that's a long drive, man. You went through a lot of states. You went from Florida, you went through probably Georgia, probably Tennessee, Kentucky, up that, man. That's a long drive. Congratulations for that journey. It's an adventure. These pants are bright, man. It's getting dark, but you can see me. I don't step foot on the road on a bicycle anymore. People texting and driving. And now it's gotten so bad, even when I'm walking in the grass, I pay attention because people will be texting and driving and swerve off the road into a field. It's idiotic behavior, man. It definitely is. So don't trust anyone. Always be situationally aware, because you never know, what could happen. So, always good to... Wow, David did Florida to Montreal in 2 days. Man, that's a heck of a haul. I can't imagine. I don't know. I probably wouldn't be patient enough to do that. I hate to say it, but I'm sure it was cool. Speaking of that, it is time. Watch out for gators. It is time for some pork chops. We're going to do some pork chops. Do some, probably just bake them, man. I don't feel like doing the smoker. I'm just going to bake them with some bourbon glaze. Make some bourbon glazed pork chops. Some bourbon and some brown sugar and some onions and some garlic. Make some sweet and bourbony pork chops. That ought to be good. Do that with some corn. Have some corn and pork chops and some mashed potatoes. Corn, pork chops, and mashed potatoes. What can be better than that? A lot of things, actually, but it's easy. Pork chops are still relatively affordable. Man, I was looking at steaks the other day, and I'm like, whoa. You know, because I like to grill my own steaks. Have you ever had? Yes, I have, and stuffed pork chops are good. I've had stuffed chicken breast. Some good stuff, man, no doubt. Yeah, that is really good. But yeah, we're gonna do some more videos. Stay tuned. Here in a few hours, I'm gonna be posting some more videos. The Mac Mini M1 Apple Silicon versus the MacBook Pro 16-inch i9. Put stuffing between two chops and bake in the oven. Oh man, that's a good idea. Yeah, the pork chops I got are kind of crappy. They're like really thin and cheap. I think I bought the whole pack for like $5, man. I mean, they're just like bottom of barrel pork chop offerings. You know, the meat supply right now is all messed up because of this pandemic. So yeah, man, I'm gonna do that stuffed. Do some stuff between pork chops and oh man, I got some mushroom. Oh, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get some mushrooms out, cook those in with it. Cover them with cheese. On that note, stay tuned. I'll be doing a lot of Apple Silicon Mac Mini videos here very soon this evening. So stay tuned. Thanks for your viewership. Thanks for the conversation. I've gotten my exercise, and now it's time to work again. See y'all later. Have a good one.